Welcome to CS Joseph Responds. I'm your host, Chase, here to answer your questions on any topic Jungian analytical psychology or the four sides of the mind, also known as four sides dynamics. Today's question is, why do SFJs dislike INFPs? And the source of today's question is, it's Quora, as usual. So let's actually take a look at the question right now. And we got two answers to this question, one by Yuriko Furuyama, officially certified purebred INTP 5W6514 SP/SX, LII-0 INT with a little j, which indicates INTP in the socionics model. And here he goes. Because I'm sorry, but you asked. So here's the truth. How very TI of him. FI can be a pain in the butt for any FE people, not just SFJs, but even STP, NTP, NFJ as well. FE's focus is external harmony, but FI, which is morals, FE is ethics, so ethics focus is external harmony, but introverted feeling, or FI, also known as morals, tends to act like, I don't care what you think. This hurts, because FE cares about you and how you feel, but he's saying what you think for some reason. They consider you. They're just wired that way so that you really can't criticize them and say, no one asked them to consider me. Besides that, FE also cares about social etiquettes. FI, mostly FI DOMs, don't care about that if that means sacrificing their authenticity. To FE, that is rude. Guess that's it. Okay, I am so triggered by this post because, for one, we had this, this guy is like, it's like, oh, I'm just going to do that thing and pretend to be like everybody else and actually think that FI means authenticity. No, it doesn't. Like, for all you FI users out there that believe that FI is authenticity, it's crap. It's not actually correct. The reality of the situation is that TI, aka logic, that's authentic. Logic is authentic, not morals. Morals are extremely subjective. Logic is a bit more objective than morals. Because the reason why is because logic is just a system. You put input into the system, it gets processed with logic, and then you get an output. So quite frankly, the morality situation is pretty subjective, right? Whereas the process of logic is actually objective itself. If this, then that, basically. That's pretty objective, therefore it's more authentic. This whole idea that FI is authentic, it's crap. It's not real. It's bullshit. It's not even a thing. So don't listen to that. So please, Mr. Yuriko Furuyama, don't be like that guy who's like, oh yeah, FI means authenticity. No, it actually doesn't. I mean, FI likes to look authentic, and they only look authentic if they're actually going to be, honest about their feelings, but they're not honest about their feelings all the time. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? It's one of the reasons why SFJs dislike INFPs, so... However, you are correct in saying that extroverted feelings focuses external harmony, and then FI tends to act like, well, I don't care what you think. That's not necessarily true. I don't agree with that. Some TI users can do that way, especially TI parents, a TI critic. They often say, I don't care what you think, like, all the time. So I don't exactly know where, Mr. Yuriko, you're actually coming up with this. Like, how are you coming up with this conclusion? And also, I'm equally triggered by the fact that you just named yourself officially certified purebred INTP. Like, what did you do? Like, just take a random online test that's only 1 out of 5 accurate? Or did you actually pay for an official MBTI test in the process that costs like an insane amount of money and then multiple hours of your life? And hopefully you had somebody sitting there with you doing the MBTI test to actually explain it to you, because they already know that the test is very inaccurate to begin with, so they have to have an extra human being to like kind of explain it to you and provide additional resources, packets of information, maybe little tiny mini books or whatever, just so that you can increase your 1 out of 5 up to maybe a 7 out of 10 accuracy, while you're still looking at a 30% chance of actually getting an incorrect answer from the test, even if you're taking the MBTI test. This is why MBTI tests suck, folks. Let's be honest. So anyway, that being said, overall, I appreciate Yuriko Furuyama's attempt at answering this question, even though it is grossly incorrect. However, there's yet another question from Heather Hoffer, studied at Western Kentucky University, graduated in 2007. She says, I'm an INFP, and my best friends are ISFJs. Yeah, well, I I doubt that, but whatever. I mean, I guess it's possible. I mean, probably because, if you really are an INFP, those ISFJs are catering to you at every moment, but they're probably actually INFJs, or maybe you're an INFJ, or maybe you're actually an ISFP. Have you considered that? Because ISFPs and ISFJs, that silver pair compatibility, that's super compatible, and they definitely like each other. So maybe you're not actually an INFP, you just imagine you are, like most ISFPs end up doing, because they're any trickster for some reason thinks they have some sort of grasp on metaphysics because they take psychedelic drugs whenever they have the opportunity to do so. So are you one of those ISFPs, Heather? Is that what you're saying here? I mean, I'm not entirely sure. So, I mean, let's just, I hope. Let's just hope that your answer actually is correct. I hope. I really do. She says, I don't know what else to say. Oh, that's typical for an FI hero to start out with. To say except to start counting the ISFJs in my life. Okay, how do you know they're ISFJs? Like, what are you doing to, actually verify this? Like, really? What are you doing? Like, are you subjecting them to those 1 out of 5 tests again? Because you're so affiliative, affiliative people focused on doing the right thing, and I guess it's the right thing to listen to this test because they have hashtag more credibility. So, because they're more credible, I'm going to listen to them. That whole thing where you would rather put your trust in credible experts instead of people that actually know how to do it. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that like fomenting ignorance? Are you causing ignorance in this society, Heather? I have to know. I mean, I have to know. Is that what's happening? Or are you actually taking the time to verify your beliefs for once? That would be nice. So I don't know what else to say except to start counting the ISFJs in my life whom I really appreciate, and it's reciprocated. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even my husband is an ISFJ. Yeah, I doubt that. If he really was an ISFJ, your guys' sexual relationship would be insanely boring. It's like, you'd be like, oh, touch me. Please touch me. Give it to me. And then he's like, give it to me. Why aren't you touching me? It's like you have two people expecting the other person to touch them instead of you have no touchers. You got two touchies in the sexual relationship, but no touchers, and everyone's screwing to be touched. And then they're accusing each other of oh, you're not here for my comfort. You're never here for my comfort. And, well, I think this is dumb, and you don't want me. And they're always complaining to each other about how the other person doesn't actually want the other person. And it's like, okay, wow. Why are you in a sexual relationship? Which... basically, that doesn't happen because people don't get married typically if they have really bad sexual chemistry. So if that's the case, I'm inclined to believe that either she is mistyped or her husband's mistyped. And yet she is electing herself an expert in this moment by answering this question on Quora. Wow. God save the queen. Wait a minute, we can't because she's just as ignorant as the rest. Anyway, even my husband is an ISFJ. He is number 7. Okay, lucky number 7. I don't know why that was relevant to this conversation, but I guess that makes sense to extroverted thinking inferior at this moment because this person is obviously insecure about how other people think about her at all times. Wow. I mean, do I even need to continue with talking about her? I mean, hold on. She continues. Remarkably, I guess. Wait a minute. How can you start a sentence saying that it's remarkable and then say that you guess it's remarkable? I don't understand. There's no consistency here. I get on fantastically with this temperament. Which temperament? Are you talking about SJs? Are you talking about NFs? Are you an NF? Or are you an SP? I wrote my post on my favorite MBTI to least favorite MBTI, and ISFJs are at the top. And apparently 390 people viewed it. Is there a downvote button? Is there a downvote button on Quora? Please, God almighty, install one. Please. Oh gosh, I'm melting. All right, now to actually answer the question, with the correct answer. So the question again is, why do SFJs dislike INFPs? The reason why is SFJs find INFPs to be the most selfish human beings that walk the earth. Completely depraved. To the point where they're so focused on, I'm just going to make decisions based on my mood, and, I only care about my comfort. Your comfort's not as important as my comfort because I'm more important than you. My mood is more important than you. I'm a more valuable person than you are. See, all these people think I'm so awesome and no one thinks that about you, so I'm obviously better than you, which means I'm entitled to special treatment. And SFJs are completely triggered by the INFPs, like literally treat like, and and that's obviously a caricature, guys. I mean, obviously it is, but the point is that even though it is a caricature, INFPs, because extroverted sensing trickster, they have no clue how they come off to other people, and it's extremely off-putting to SFJs. Like, they could barely put up with it. Like, they have no desire to really be around INFPs whatsoever for the most part, because INFPs just come off so selfish, so entitled, so SJW, so the level of entitlement is insane. And oftentimes it gets even worse because ISFJs constantly observe INFPs from sacrificing their fellow human beings for the sake of their own agenda, right? And SFJs hate it because it's unjust. And as a result of that, the SFJs have no choice but to publicly shame the INFPs who are actually doing this. But, hey, let's a lot of people don't understand that public shaming is the greatest weakness to an INFP. In fact, that's how INFPs who are often in positions of power in politics are often blackmailed by SFJs to control them, because that's the easiest way to control an INFP is through blackmail. A lot of people don't know that, right? Easiest way to control an SFJ, conversely, is to make them feel unwanted as much as possible, and also cause them to feel like they're not contributing to anything, and make them feel like they're a bad person, while also making them be unwanted and as undesirable as possible in the eyes of other people, right? Which, interesting enough, sometimes INFPs can actually do to SFJs, but for some reason INFPs think because they're so hurt with my titles, my credibility, my my reputation and my status, and how they try to attack other people's status, but little they realize SFJs don't really give a damn about their own status, so that usually fails. The point is, it's just it's a competition between whose comfort is more important, but then SFJs see how unfair INFPs behave, because INFPs always make it about their own self-aggrandizement and their own status, and oftentimes put themselves above other human beings, and INFPs are often oblivious to the fact that they even do this to begin with, because they end up becoming so depraved and so entitled that they're not even aware that they even come off this way. So that's basically the answer to this question. So anyway, if you'd like a chance at your question answered on this channel, please post it on Quora and tag me, or leave it as a comment below on this YouTube channel. If you want a guaranteed answer for your question, become a silver patron at https://csjoseph.live/Patreon, and post your question on our private Q&A Discord channel, where I'm answering all your questions during a private live stream once a month. Please also make sure to like and subscribe to support the channel. And anyway, folks, with all that being said, I'll see you guys tonight.